I'm Dr. Maria Sulindro, specialized in integrative anti-aging medicine. I practice in Pasadena, California. Welcome to our channel today with an event of COVID and vaccine update. Now, if you go back to every month on Thursday, the first Thursday of the month, my special guest, Dr. Cynthia Shelby-Lane. Hi, Dr. Cynthia.
Hi, Dr. Maria.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm here.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
So we both tried our best to update you with what's going on in our area and its vicinities in the United States, hopefully because we speak English here. If you hear it in a different country, maybe you have a different situations. And today we will update the COVID and vaccine regarding the booster and also the children vaccination and mandate for school and work and travel, and also the variants. So we try to see if we can work by sharing the slides. I'm going to try it, okay?
Okay.
Dr. Cynthia actually is an emergency medicine doctor. We are both not an immunologist or virologist, but we try to update our own knowledge for our patients' purpose. And this event or this channel is dedicated for community awareness. And both of us would like also an input. You can ask questions and we'll try our best to answer it. And both of us, we answer it based on our practice or our experience. Right, Dr. Cynthia?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So I would like to ask some questions, but let me see if my first question in this, like for booster, okay? What preparation, like testing that is best to see before you take booster, right? So I don't know if you do it, but I do it. And let me try to see what is in the slides. Hang on a second. Hang on.
Okay.
Share. Okay, so we can share.
So just so everyone knows, I tried to help bring some graphics on board so that you could see what we were talking about, and it might be a little easier. So this is our first time doing this. So it's a learning experience, even though COVID's been with us for 18, 19, 20 months. We've been on Zoom for this long. We don't know how to do this. So it's always fun to learn.
We'll do it today.
We'll
Okay,
do it today.
Share.
Yeah.
I have.
Okay, go ahead. I like that.
And where are you? Okay, hang on a second.
So that would be.
Suddenly, we are not here. Hang on. You see me still, or?
Yeah, you have a different set of slides also. So that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Okay, one moment. So let me go like this, and I will find it here.
Documents. It would have been sent like.
It will say PP, so it's P. There you go. Let me see.
Wow. That might be it.
No video. No, wait a second. PP video, where's your video? Is that your video?
That looks like it, yeah. Looks
okay.
Closer to the original, the final.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, one moment. COVID update. Okay, so what I can do, looking at this is usefully. Can you see it? You see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, oh yeah, I forgot. It's here. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
There you go.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Now I've got to catch up with you. So I'm gonna shrink you.
Just talk I think I'm going to flip it, and then you will just talk whatever you see on the slides, okay?
Correct, yes, but I have a different version. So here we are, November 2021. This is our COVID update for this month, this year. over 5 million deaths in the past 2 years. That's 5 million deaths worldwide. And we've gone through the virus and the variants, and now we're getting ready for booster shots. In addition, just as an update, an overview, children 5 to 11 are now being vaccinated. So that just rolled out yesterday, which is November the 3rd, 2021. And I've done a little bit of research, as I promised from the last time we were together, on long COVID, long haul syndrome, and what research is being done and where the experts are. And so we'll talk about that at the very end. And so that's kind of an overview of where we are. So in the United States, 747,000, and that number keeps advancing. So this is from 2 days ago, have died. And the number of people vaccinated have been over 7 trillion worldwide. And one of the biggest issues that are going on, because COVID is not just a virus, it is a political tool now. And no matter what we see with the variants and the new variant, which is Delta Plus, we still have a lot of issues to work out as we go into the next year.
Okay, next slide, I assume.
And next slide.
Wait. Okay.
All right. So we know that COVID went up and spiked earlier this year because right around the time of the vaccine, and there was the new variant, which was from we call it Delta, and now there's Delta Plus. So even though there's a new variant called Delta Plus, it is not as treacherous as they thought it would be. The signs and symptoms are kind of similar to what you saw before. You have a new and continuous cough, or you still have a loss of taste or smell, and you have a high temperature, you just feel hot. Maybe you don't even need to take your temperature. So those are some of the signs and symptoms. Before Delta, we had more GI symptoms, but now this is what they're saying you should be looking for. So as we go forward tonight, do you have a cold? Do you have the flu, or do you have COVID? And so Delta Plus is part of this scenario, and we're going to talk about testing in just a few slides.
As I understand, when you say Delta Plus, maybe our audience wants to know, is this a variant of concern, or is it variant of, interest?
So it's a variant of concern and interest, but not as much interest as the original Delta. It is, as I said, it's not as treacherous as they thought it would be. And so it's sort of spiked, and then it started to go back down, but there are other variants out there. I think there are probably like 6. I don't want to give a number. There are multiple variants out there, but the one that they're looking at now is Delta Plus, and then there's Mu, and then there's Lambda. So there are variants on the horizon because of the virus just mutating it so much.
Mm-hmm. So for people who do not understand what's the difference between Delta and Delta Plus, that's why the rumor was very bad, because apparently Delta Plus is very fast, infectious and very fast actually. But however, since this is not a variant of concern yet, right? This is a variant of interest. We'll keep watching this one, right? Okay. Right. All right, let's go next one. There you go. Mm-hmm.
So this just says that the global death toll is rising, but it's not rising as fast. So it's slowly rising, as you see by looking at the numbers from March of 2020 up to our current time, but it's starting to flatten out. So it's flattening out simply because of 2 things. Well, one thing in particular, vaccinations, number one, and that's the number one thing. And then prevention with masks. But there's going to be we're going to watch the variants to see what's actually going to happen. It's not clear if there'll be another spike, but most researchers and scientists think it will not be. In addition, by December of this year, they expect us to reach herd immunity. So that was always 75% of the population would be inoculated or vaccinated to protect the rest of the 25% who chose not to get vaccinated or never did. So they expect 75% in the United States to be at herd immunity. So we should reach herd immunity by December of this year. But
but
that
need to go back.
No, I'm fine. But that's not necessarily so. So we're just going to watch the numbers, because every time we talk with you, it's really an update. So then we go to, what do we know about the effectiveness of the vaccine? And that's why, and that's where the variant comes in, reinfections and breakthrough infections come in. And that's why vaccinations are important, and especially as children are getting vaccinated. So, it's kind of hard to speak pro or con, because it depends upon people's beliefs and what they're getting exemptions for. So I can't tell anybody what to do. I can just tell you that the numbers show that the vaccine has been effective. No vaccine is 100% effective. The flu vaccine is only 50% effective. And that means that you're not testing positive and that you're not spreading the disease. So the effectiveness for, let's say, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Pfizer ranges between 60% for Johnson & Johnson up to 90% for Pfizer, which is Pfizer-BioNTech. But as you look at what's happening in the slides coming up, you'll see that your immune system it wanes. It wanes after you get the virus, and you have your own antibodies, and it wanes after you get the vaccine. So there is some effect. There's effectiveness. Nothing is 100% effective. That's where we come into our nutritional and our holistic look at the patient.
Yes. And I the way I think is like this, Dr. Cynthia. That's the reason why flu is still killing people, right, in the rate of actually higher than COVID, because the flu vaccine is usually made a year ahead of for example, if you're getting flu vaccine this year, the vaccine is not made that month, right. So it was made like a year ago or 2 years ago, they planned it. But then we do not know what's going to happen, let's say in 2022, the flu season. We do not know which virus is going to hit that month, right? Or that year. So they make the vaccine already out of 3 chosen virus, let's say. And they missed it. Of course, they missed it. because they're scientists, we are doctors, we are not fortune teller. So we just said that, okay, but when you have vaccine, your body actually reacted to that vaccine because you're putting something in your body that doesn't belong to your body. So you have a reaction. Now, this is what reaction that people are afraid of, but you have to understand, vaccine gives you reaction. Now, about the exemption, like Dr. Cynthia said, some patients, they do have exemption. For example, the last vaccine they had, let's say 3 years ago, they had anaphylactic shock. Of course, the doctor will not actually allow them to have it, because who will guarantee, especially when this one is used as an emergency use only. So we are just trying to clarify that the vaccine may not be the right vaccine for COVID-19, but is made so that your body develop antibody and can identify, oh, this one looks like a COVID-19 or looks like Delta, I better be ready. And then this antibody will still strike them. That's the reason why some people said, if you are vaccinated, you actually are stronger than people who are not vaccinated to receive all these virus. Right, Dr. Cynthia?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's continue, because people are confused why we are presenting, and yet they think differently, because there are so many videos that goes through their mind, and they saw it in a conspiracy theory, and they see it, and then they read the CDC, they read they listen to the news that sometimes is also not right, because no one knows exactly what's going to happen with this virus. But now we kind of like understand, because we treating this virus like a flu virus. It's just going to be with us, whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. And the key thing is that, based upon research data and 2 years of experience, they have shown that the vaccine is able to prevent serious illness and hospitalization and death. That's real world data in the United States. Now, I know you and I both look at CDC data, FDA data, the WHO, World Health Organization. Sometimes we think they're a little shy of accuracy, but the numbers, as I read numbers across multiple platforms, the vaccines have been effective in prevention of serious illness, hospitalization, and death, and in certain age groups for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next.
All right. This has to deal with getting a vaccine after you had a COVID-19 infection.
Mhm.
And researchers found that a vaccine after an infection can set off like a secondary memory cell response. So there's the initial response, and then there's these B cells that you make in your body. Well, if you get the vaccine, that helps to enhance your immune system. So you do have antibodies from just getting the virus. But then if you get the vaccine, you have additional protection. So I'm just looking at data as it's coming through and trying to explain why. Should you get a vaccine after you have a COVID-19 infection, or should you not? People say, well, I have antibodies. How long do those antibodies last? Even the protection with for your immune system with the vaccine only lasts 6 to 8 months after that. So you're constantly trying to boost your immune system. In that case, should everybody go out and just say, I'll just get COVID? No, COVID has too many known problems, which we'll talk about as long COVID. So no, you don't want to just make sure you get it. Like sometimes you've heard chickenpox parties, haven't you? Where families, they get together and say, we get the chickenpox, and then it'll be all over with, and you don't have to get the vaccine. COVID doesn't seem to work like that. And so you don't want to go out and just infect yourself. We've seen too many side effects. I see them every day. All right, next slide.
So let me understand what you just said. So what you're saying is people who already have a COVID infection, they develop antibody against that COVID, whatever strain is, and then that antibody will slowly disappear, right?
Yes,
yes. But they have a T cell, memory cell that will remember, yes. And so you're saying that even people who already received vaccine, the antibody will disappear.
It will wane. It will go down.
Yes, slowly, 6 to 8 months.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to share with you what all my patients, some of my patients said. They have COVID, and they think they're immune, right?
Yes.
So I said, well, you are immune or not immune. People who have vaccine or not vaccinated, they both can actually get a COVID infection because the strain is different. Right. And then it depends on how much antibody you develop. So I offer them, if you want to really know whether your infection give you a good antibody level or your vaccine give you a good antibody level, we can actually measure it.
Yes.
So we do measure. And sure enough, if it's enough, then I said, you can wait, but then maybe 3 more months or 4 more months, maybe we have to remeasure. So I just want to make sure that the community is clear about what is going on, because some people said they went to the doctor and they just had the COVID infection, and the doctor still want them to receive the vaccine. So I told them, tell your doctor you would like to know if that infection had given you any antibody.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just want to be very clear that this is what we are trying to convey to our listener. Okay. Next slide is this one. One moment. Is this the one?
We already talked about that.
Okay. This one.
And we talked about that.
Yeah. How about this one?
All right. There we go. So now we're at the point of what we were just discussing, like tailing onto what we just said. Who should get the booster shot? So they found out that, first of all, you should have to wait. They suggest you wait 6 months before you get the booster shot. Looking at what you said, measuring the antibodies, looking at natural immunity, seeing if the vaccine from vaccine 1 and vaccine 2, if it's Pfizer or Moderna, gave you a good antibody response, or if it's starting to decline. They found out it did decline at 6 to 8 months. And so at 6 to 8 months, that's what was suggested for Pfizer and Moderna, even after emergency use authorization went away. So now they're recommending boosters. And who are they recommending it for? People who are 65 and older, people who have immunodeficiencies, people who are 18 to 49 who live in conditions that aren't that healthy. I might say even prisons or people in long-term care facilities. So that's who it's being recommended for. And then with respect to Johnson & Johnson, they recommended that you get that injection 2 months after your first injection. So if you decide to get Johnson & Johnson, then you'll wait 2 months. Pfizer and Moderna, 6 to 8 months. Natural infection, you can still wait 3 months, depending on your antibodies. And then they came up with a brilliant idea, if you go to the next slide, I think, that you can mix and match this stuff. You can mix and match Pfizer with Moderna.
My gosh. Okay, let me see. I think I went too many times. Is it this one?
We'll go back up. Oh. Go back up. Up. Yeah, right about there.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can mix and match, which means that if you got mRNA or you got adenovirus, the adenovirus vaccine, which is Johnson & Johnson single shot, you can mix and match. I'm not sure how they came up with their data, but they said they looked at everything and there would be no problem. But I think there is a problem in some people, especially if adults who are concerned about the blood clotting disorder that occurred with Johnson & Johnson. So some people wouldn't want to mix and match. I think that most people would probably go back to their original, but say for instance, you go in and you're looking for Johnson & Johnson and you can't find it. What would you do if you really want to get a booster?
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to the International Conference of Experts on Long COVID Syndrome, and they asked them, what would you do? It was such an odd response. Mm-hmm. If you listen to this for 3 hours, you listen to the doctors, the PhDs, the doctors from all over the world, and then you listen to them. I got the same information that they spewed out. Everybody listened to the same thing, and all of the answers were like different. That's why I understand why the public is confused. So when it says talk to your doctor, I think you have to be one-on-one with your doctor. Where's your doctor coming from? Because the doctor from the UK was different from the doctor from Australia, from the US. And I'm like, wow. So I had to sit back and listen to it another 3 hours, the same thing all over again, just to come to some conclusions for myself about what to do. So I understand why people are confused. And that's why we're trying to clarify this. This is what they're saying. This is what the research is saying about boosters, who should get it. Talk to your doctor. You still have to talk to your doctor, because if some immunocompromised patients don't want to get the booster, they don't want to get the vaccine at all.
Yeah.
This is very challenging times. I know this is when you listen to people give you science and then you say, here's the science. Now, what would you do? And it's like, wow, I didn't believe when I heard the answers from the individuals. I'm like, I would have never thought you would have said that. Mm-hmm. So I'm sometimes a little bit confused. And so you have to gather enough information. I think still trusting your doctor, your healthcare provider, not just any doctor, somebody you trust, because you get a lot of different information from people, because sometimes doctors are in a hurry. We know that. Mm-hmm. And they'll just go with what's the trend and they won't give you further explanation. So trying to get an explanation is always a good thing to do.
Correct. Yes. If your doctor doesn't know, if this whoever your doctor is do not have an interest in your conversation and your concern, you should look for another doctor.
And we know that's not easy to say. We know that. You know why? Because your insurance company tells you what to do, and that's how this works.
Yeah.
If you can't get if you can't get authorization, then nothing we say here today is going to make any difference. And so when we get to the end of this, I'm going to give you some information about where you might be able to find some of these specialists who specialize in long COVID, who might be able to do testing and different kinds of care. Because you and I are not available to the world, but there are other doctors out there who get this.
Yes. But I'm very blessed because in my practice, I do find labs and testing that helps my patients to calm down when they are worried about what is their situation. And I listen to the patient. And if they're worried, I said, well, if you're worried, you just wait for a few months and then we retest. And then if you still want to go, and I will prepare you. And I usually prepare my patients. Yeah. I will look at what was the previous problems, and then I will make sure that problem is not active. For example, if they have like a very high risk of the heart attack with an increasing of interleukin-16, I don't suggest of any vaccine.
Right.
I said, just
Right.
wait until we lower your inflammation, and then we'll see what is going to happen. So that's why I said I'm blessed. And then all the testing are so far covered by insurance. So that
Yes,
is
yes.
good. In California, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I hope in your side it's also the same.
It is and it isn't, and some of the institutions are who are putting these post-COVID long haul syndrome centers together. They're able to justify this by looking at the science and the data and saying this is what's showing up in the science and this is what we need to do. But it takes a lot of work. It just takes a lot of work. When you put together a holistic plan for a patient, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. So let's talk about the next one here.
Okay, we talked about that
we
already. Talked about that. So go on. Mandates. Oh, mandates is so interesting. It's because
yeah, I know.
So I was just watching the news right before I said, I got this mandate thing down. I know what I'm going to talk about. No, look, so mandates are working. When I say that, they're not really working that well. Okay. The president of the United States, Joe Biden, says he's pushed back his deadline for mandatory COVID vaccination to January 4th of 2022. It was December the 4th or December 8th, somewhere in there, but that was going to interfere with Christmas season and all this other political stuff. So they pushed it back to January 4th. Mm-hmm. And this means that if you have employees of more than 100 employees, they have to be vaccinated. That's going to be the mandate. And that currently includes about 84 million people in the United States. If you do not, according to OSHA, keep up with this, and this is going to be like the airlines and the automotive factories and big factories, then OSHA will come in and it'll be a $14,000 per violation fine. So now we're starting to see people who want to sue the president of the United States over the mandate. So this is just like, it's gotten out of control. So it gets to the point where, how can you tell somebody what to do? Is the mandate working? Yes, it is. People are losing their jobs. Now, New York City firefighters, like 2 weeks ago, called in sick. So there was nobody to take care of the emergencies. The teachers have been doing the same thing in New York City, and American Airlines employees have to be vaccinated by November 24th, which is my birthday. So anyway, I hope they get it.
Yeah. Good. You remind me.
So it's causing a problem, and if teachers, you've seen the school boards versus the parents, the parent-teacher associations, it's happening, and so it's going to be a little messy for a little bit longer. That's 84 million people is a lot of people to try to get vaccinated by January 4th of 2022. So that's what's happening. All right, you can move on. Next.
What is that? The New York firefighters 2,000 call in sick.
That's 2,000 firefighters called in sick over the previous weekend, not this past, but the weekend before, because that's when I put this slide together. And they said, well, we're not getting vaccinated and we're just going to call in sick. So they didn't come in because
my God,
unvaccinated. So when you're trying to get municipal services, even, I don't know about waste management, but you try to get municipal services that are government regulated, then you're going to find there's going to be some delays and there's not going to be people there to take care of you when your house is burning down. For NASA, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is a government agency, they have been mandated to get vaccinated. They said they're not going to do it. So can you imagine trying to go to space and all the flights are going to be canceled to space, to Mars. So it's affecting everybody. Everybody's affected by this.
Yeah, but still, there must be a reason. And when we move on, like in a few more months, we'll see what is the result. Because right now, we still have a lot of COVID infection, according to the news, right?
Yes, of course, right.
Yeah. So, but however, people are people here live just like a normal life now. And you go to the restaurants, you can sit in and just, order the food and you're just not wearing masks. After that, of course, you have to eat. And I'm not quite sure what's going on in 1 or 2 more months. Yeah. So it's good that we follow this up. And so we can see how it's weeks, is up and down, even with the mandate.
Right,
Yeah.
because the flu season is coming along, so you're gonna have a mix. Last year, remember, the flu season was like almost negligible. Nobody got the flu because
Because everyone was
wearing a mask, right, and taking care of
yes.
themselves and washing their hands, which we should still be doing. Everybody, we should still be doing that. But now everybody's lightened up. You're going to football games, 100,000 people in the stadium at University of Michigan. You're just doing crazy kind of stuff, which is normal stuff. It's really normal. But you
Yeah.
can tell that our protection, our level of awareness is down. We're not protecting ourselves as well. When you see people with masks, you almost want to like hit them now. Like, not me, but people do. They're like still feisty, and they just like, why are you wearing that mask? I don't understand it. And so you've got this
Just say I'm not wearing my makeup. That's why I want to cover
Yes,
it.
right. 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 So move on a couple of slides, Dr. Maria, because I'll show you where
Yeah. Okay. Go
the
ahead.
the U.S. Supreme Court is also looking into what they're going to do in terms of mandating the mandates. So the Supreme Court is weighing in very soon. So you're going to see the Supreme Court get involved. So it's become very political. A health issue has become very political.
They'll get sued also. They will get sued also.
No, who, the Supreme Court? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they will too, along with Joe Biden.
Yeah. Whoever won will be very rich. Yes. Okay.
Right.
We passed this one.
Yeah, we passed
Okay.
that. All right.
Yeah.
So I looked up this. I said, who are these anti-vaxxers? Who are they? And it's not just that people who have religious concerns, and it's not just people who don't know what's in the virus. It's not just people who said it was developed too soon. 30 years is a long time to be developing this. But it was people who said, it's not serious at all, and I am invincible, and I will never get it. That is the mindset of the people who don't want to get it. And they so if they think they're invincible, and this is called the invincibility factor or effect, then they're not going to get vaccinated. I don't care what you do to them. So there's a football player who plays for is it Wisconsin, Green Bay? Aaron Rodgers, $40 million on the line. He didn't get vaccinated and he just got COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's invincible. Yeah, I don't know if he's off for 2 weeks. I don't know how that's going to mess with his paycheck. It would mess with mine a lot. 40 million, of course. So anyway, this invincible person. So next time you see somebody who's like an anti-vaxxer, look at their personality. They anything goes. They can do anything. I didn't know that. I just keep reading. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next.
All right. There you go.
Okay. So finally, we get the vaccine. If people are happy about it for younger kids, it was packed and shipped. We'll be getting it here in Michigan. What's today? The 4th, the 6th. I don't know about California. People
the 4th. Come on, we have the same date.
Well, we can't get it till the 6th. Yeah. Some kids, I saw them yesterday on television. They're so happy. They're so happy to get a shot. I can't believe it. So anyway, this is Pfizer-BioNTech. It was approved by the FDA and CDC's advisory committee, 14-0. So it went through. It's a 2-dose regimen, 3 weeks apart. They get a third of the adult dose, 10 micrograms. And so far, 745 children have died of COVID. Of those, 94 were in the 5 to 11-year-old age range. And out of the kids who got COVID, 2,300 of them, the kids, had multi-system inflammatory syndrome C. That's the inflammatory disorder that people are concerned about, including the myocarditis. So we're looking at numbers again, and numbers suggest that COVID is more dangerous than the vaccine. Numbers suggest that. But if you could go on a slide, and you'll see what parents are thinking. Parents aren't all in. You can go another. If somebody wants to know about who was involved, how many kids, it's like 2 to 5,000. But the parents are saying 27% say yes, I'm in. 33% are undecided. They want to wait and see, similar to what happened with the adults. 5% say only if mandated or required. So we know that's coming. And then 30% definitely not, the anti-vaxxer. So that's what the polls say about getting but that's what parents are saying about the vaccine. So they're not all on board like it sounds on the news.
These parents actually allowed the kids to get a normal vaccine.
Yes.
The measles and all those.
Yeah.
I think it's because they were told that this is not a COVID-19 vaccine. This is an mRNA and also even J&J, even though it's virus, it's a adenovirus. So they become very curious and afraid. Why should I give it to my children when the rate or the statistics is very low in the children infection? Okay, so we go back.
But for mostly for parents now, when you go for anti-vaxxers to the parent anti-vaxxers, parents anti-vaxxers are not so much invincible. It's that they don't know the long-term effects. They're putting this into my kid and what's going to happen in 20 years. Are you going to turn green and start glowing? Well, you know, I doubt seriously that this can happen. But that's what their concerns are. Okay, next slide.
Okay.
All right. So so here's the deal.
Yeah.
On COVID test, the update. We talked about this before. You can't find these tests anywhere. So Mr. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, said he was going to get $70 million to get these tests in the hands of the people. So say, for instance, you went to church and you came home, you had a little cold, and somebody at the church had COVID, and you test yourself, it's negative. You don't have to go to a doctor's office. Well, these tests are almost impossible to find. Most of the tests were bought up by schools and organizations. So my situation only became my situation as of today, when my grandson got sick and we went to go get an over-the-counter COVID test. Walgreens, we don't have them. Walmart, we don't have them. CVS, we don't have them. Oh, you have to come in and you have to make an appointment for a test. So he's going to miss 2 days of school because we can't get the testing done. So you have to understand, we need these tests at home. And if you buy one, buy several, don't hoard. Just remember that it is hard to get in just to get plain COVID testing now. It's more than I can just walk into Walgreens and get it done. You have to make an appointment. You have to have some sort of situation at a doctor's office where you can get it done. If your doctor is doing it, you still have to get in before they close. If your child gets sick, or if you get sick at work, for instance, a co-worker was out for a week, and I said, well, do you have the flu or the cold or COVID? Well, I don't know. You didn't get tested, so you got to get tested. And a new test on the market is coming to market end of this year is a breathalyzer test. Again, when you talk about these tests, the manufacturers and the reliability and the cost, if there's a mandate for people to be tested, and say, for instance, you don't get the vaccine, but the employee has to be tested. They have to pay for their own test. It's $23 a test, or maybe twice a week. That's $50. That's $50 to $100 a month that you're going to have to pay out of your pocket. This is what the mandates are doing. So, and the tests aren't that easy. The tests should be free again, and but they're not. And the situation you put yourself in is cumbersome, and you have to make appointments, and you have to run around town to get this test done. So it's not just a cold anymore. It's a cold, or is it COVID?
Boy, it is a dilemma, because the kids wants to go to school, and they cannot go unless they bring these tests as
a result, right? And it's the antigen test versus the PCR. So antigen tests can be done in 10 to 15 minutes, but the PCR takes a little longer, sometimes rapid, but not necessarily. It could be a day. And so our situation is a day. We have to wait a day.
I have to go today for that.
Okay.
Because I'm going to watch Beethoven. Not Beethoven, Van Gogh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're going to see Van Gogh?
Yeah.
They didn't come to Detroit. They canceled us last Sunday. All right. So this says, why at-home coronavirus tests are easy to use but hard to find. That's because they aren't out there yet. They aren't popular like home pregnancy tests. They should be, but they're not there yet. All right.
Okay.
All right. Next.
There you go.
So here's the final destination: long COVID syndrome and the researchers. So I set in a 2-hour, 2.5 hour, 3-hour online seminar about long COVID syndrome and what's being done in the research realm. Dr. Bruce Patterson is one of the lead researchers for a program that I learned about called Recover, which means researching COVID to enhance recovery. RECOVER, researching COVID to enhance recovery. And this is done by the FLCCC Alliance, which is the Frontline COVID Critical Care Alliance. So we're frontline. You and I are pretty much frontline. We're sitting out there with the patients. There's emergency room. There's primary care doctor's office. There's the hospitals. There's paramedics and EMS. Frontline. So, but if you're in a situation where you can do testing, how do you do that? So just move on a little bit. because these were all interesting people. The NIH is paying for their an initiative for this Recover program to look at SARS-CoV-2 and PASC, which is long for something for
Here.
long COVID. I have
Here,
it somewhere.
post-acute sequelae
Yes.
of
And
SARS-CoV.
so I think they got $470 million to put some of this together. The NIH is giving out that much money. But this program, if you go down a little further, is going to help people, and they're going to look at pregnancy as well. They're going to look at the COVID long haulers. And there's going to be a lot of people looking at the 39 million people who were positive for COVID in our country. Seems like more than that, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like there's like 100 million people.
200 million,
10 to 30% of people will end up developing post-COVID syndrome. And then there are over 100 researchers and 200 estimated clinical sites. So you, Dr. Maria, can be a clinical site for this data that they're collecting if you want to. But let's look at the data what they're collecting, because they really want to know. They want to address these issues. They want to see what it's gonna cover. What are they going to answer? So I had COVID. It was severe. I had COVID. It was minor. I have the same problems: neurocognitive, fatigue, shortness of breath. It's gone 6 to 8 months after COVID has disappeared. What are they going to be looking for? So they're going to look for what does recovery from SARS-CoV-2 look like in different groups. That means they're going to do multi-diversity disciplinary groups. How many people develop new symptoms after an acute infection? Why do some people develop these health effects while others do not? That's a very interesting question. And it needs an answer. How many people continue to have symptoms after an acute infection? What causes these health effects? And I can't read the last one, but they're really putting together a program, because I was so concerned about it. Like, why can't the regular doctor do this? You know why the regular doctor can't do it? It's too much work.
Yeah, they're not given more than 8 minutes apparently by some
too much work.
right?
And you've got to go home and read this stuff like we're doing it and do a program. Okay, go on to the next slide. All right, yes, that's it. Post-acute sequela of SARS-CoV-2. There's current therapies, and then they have protocols. I thought you might be interested in this. So if you go down a little further, we'll look at their therapies. This is a complicated slide, but it totally goes into what you were talking about ivermectin, Zoloft, the mast cell production, and what they're doing to treat COVID it goes way beyond vitamin D and vitamin C. They're using antihistamines. They're using montelukast sodium, which is what you use for asthma. They're using statin drugs, and they're using ivermectin. And they're doing the big research on ivermectin is involved with this whole Recover program. They have put it together so it now makes scientific sense to everybody who's talking about ivermectin, because it's random, it's scattered, it's an antiparasitical, it's off-label writing. But this group has put together some pretty interesting data if people are interested in going to FLCCC Alliance. Yeah.
Frontline COVID.
Right.
Medical Care Alliance. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So next slide.
Thank you. Wow, we finally finished. Okay. Well, it's a beautiful slides, everyone. Dr. Cynthia has put all this her time to present a beautiful slide. She's so talented in making this PowerPoint. Now we just have to make sure that when we share, it shows up.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
I really thank you for the update, and be happy to maneuver the share. So today is quite successful. I was like, worried that it won't show. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks so much. And looking forward to see you soon.
Yep, for sure.
Hopefully in our, I don't know if we're going to have an annual party again, but I'm still moving forward to like having the Zoom party at least.
Okay. So
we cannot have the real party because usually the the Zoom, I mean, not the Zoom, the booths are in the house. I mean, in the office.
In the office, yes, yes.
Yes.
So just so you know, last year I showed up at one of my Zoom parties as Mrs. Santa Claus. So maybe I'll be able to come to your party this year as Mrs. Claus.
Okay, we will show some costumes pictures for our audience next time, right?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Cynthia, and have a great weekend, and hope to see you next month. And with that will be the last update this year.
Yes.
Hopefully, is a happy news. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Be safe. Be safe.
Be safe. Yes. So I'm Dr. Maria Solindro.